Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Gemini in the month of November 2018. Hello, hello, Gemini. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, how's it going, guys? Happy Halloween if you guys celebrated recently across the globe. I'm recording this in early November, so it might be fresh in your mind if you're watching this anytime soon. And yeah, if you're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving this month in November, if you're here in the States or you're abroad and you celebrate for some reason, happy Turkey Day to you. Yeah, that's it for the general announcements. All right, Gemini, as you can see, I went ahead and I shuffled off camera to save time, so that's your main spread there. I'm going to shuffle for your outcome and your overall energy. Once those cards are out and everything is lying face up, that's when the reading will begin. You can look in the description box below, and you're going to see a timestamp down there for when you can go ahead and jump ahead if you want to. Also down there, you can find information on getting a personal reading with me if you feel inclined to do so. If you want to work with me, I want to work with you. It's that simple. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get your outcome for November. Gemini, outcome November. A little sticky. Whoa. Okay. Is that one that fell on the table? Yes. Which way, please, for Gemini? Please show me. This way. Thank you. And bottom of the deck is the overall energy. That's funny. I think that was Taurus's last night. Was that Taurus? I think so. All right, let's flip these guys over and let's see what you guys got. How? Okay. A lot of repeating cards, but, you know, if you read tarot or if you watch tarot readers and you watch, like, multiple readings that they do, it tends to be that each reader will have repeated cards, especially if they do different zodiacs or even the different elements in the zodiac. And that's just a testament to, like, the themes that run across different readings. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because you have a lot of cards like that have come out before for the previous two readings that I've done. So it'll be interesting by the time I do Pisces to see what else gets repeated. Anyway, Gemini. Where is Gemini, please, in November 2018? Please show me. Gemini in November 2018. Okay. All right, Gemini, coming into November 2018, you come in as the Knight of Wands. So it's interesting. You have like this really rambunctious energy or like a pent-up energy that you're kind of, you know, excited to release or excited to kind of express. The Knight of Wands is a very energetic person. Card associated with fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, so you might have someone of significance in your life who is a fire sign. But if you don't, or there isn't anyone who would be exhibiting these characteristics, it could be you. So regardless of whether this is you or someone else, the Knight of Wands is rambunctious, like I said, super energetic, very excited to present their ideas to the world, or very excited to go out and engage in the world and be involved in social situations or involved in certain adventures, traveling, going out and dining, going out and partying, things like this. This person is like super social and they are super excited to just be around other people and experience new things. And so for you, Gemini, this might be something, I think, if it is you, I feel that it's a little like you need this. Like, this might be a reaction to or a response to certain stresses in your life or certain things in your life that have kind of dissatisfied you. And so you kind of want to do the opposite. Instead of having a bad day, you want to have a great day. Instead of having a boring day, you want to have an exciting day. You know, you're actively trying your best to turn your frown upside down, or to turn your circumstances upside down if it's like something greater than just your mood or what you can do, or what you get yourself involved in socially. If this is like about a relationship, not a relationship, but like your outlook, or not your outlook, but the outlook of a situation, the outlook of a relationship, the prospects of a relationship, the prospects of a situation, you want it to be just really interesting. You know, the Knight of Wands is definitely not a boring person. He doesn't represent boring or monotonous or predictable energy. He's very much the opposite of all that. So he would be very exciting. He would be very unpredictable. He would be really, you know, in a lot of ways like a rogue, kind of like a rolling stone, you know? So there's this, also within this energy, there's this element of movement and going from here to there, to there, to there, to over there, and back over here. You know, there's just this feeling with the Knight of Wands that things are about to be set into motion, and there will be very little that will stop that from happening, or it's about perpetual motion, just to keep going and going and going, sort of like an Energizer bunny. And if that's your energy, honestly, it's blocked all the way around. If that's where you're starting, you would definitely be up against some really tough circumstances, or you're dealing with people that aren't making it easy for you to behave this way, or aren't making it easy or simple for you to express this part of yourself. You're very much blocked in by a lot of crap. And that can come in any, you know, many forms. That can come in the form of other relationships that you have. So you might have certain obligations when it comes to other people. Maybe you're a parent, and so you have this desire to go out and have fun with your friends, or to go on a vacation, but, you know, you have children to raise, and you just can't get up and go and take a trip cross country because you want to, because you've got kids and you're obligated to stay with your children and to keep them in school, and not, you know, it's generally frowned upon for you to take your kids and like leave in the middle of a school year and not come back for like a month. Like, that's generally frowned upon. And, you know, if I'm honest, I think in a lot of cases where whatever your responsibilities are, whatever you're obligated to, is really like kind of makes you feel like it's cramping your style. A lot of you. Not all of you, but a lot of you. In other cases, it's not like a child relationship. It could be a spousal relationship, or a romantic relationship, a dating relationship where your partner is just like draining you, or they're stressing you out, or you guys are fighting, or I'm not really seeing fighting per se, if I'm honest, but I'm just throwing that out there just, you know, because that's reality. Sometimes you fight in relationships, but whatever it is, you guys aren't necessarily seeing eye to eye, and you just kind of want to like throw those problems away and just get down to the good stuff and really have a good time with your partner, or without them. It could go either way. So no matter what storyline you're in, there is this desire to get out. Like this horse, this knight on his horse, I feel is like a jockey on a racehorse, like just like ready to let rip on the back of this horse and like go shooting down the track. The difference, of course, being the Knight of Wands would be more of an explorer. He would be out there doing all kinds of fun stuff. He's not like in a race or anything like that. So there is this feeling, though, of anticipation. Like, I want to go, I want to go, I have to go, I have to go. And again, I feel that you're blocked. So this is something I think for you, Gemini, that is, you might be reserving this. Like, you might realize that that's a part of yourself that you can tap into when you're ready, but you're just not ready. Or it's a part of you that you've not had contact with in a long time. And so you're kind of like, oh my God, is this my life? Like, I used to be like this. I used to have a social life. I used to have hobbies. I used to have interests. And now all I do is go to work, and I come home and I have like a sad reheated dinner in the microwave. And then, I hop in the shower, and then I go to bed. And that's your routine throughout the week. And you're just like, I can't do this. And so there's this distance I feel from this energy. As much as it's yours and you possess it, as much as it's yours and you are able to recognize that energy and you're able to sort of imagine all the things you could do if you had more time, more money, less responsibilities, less obligations, less stress in your life. It's still so distant from you because I said you've got all this other stuff around you just blocking the way. Now, one of the things that you have blocking the way is that you're both tired, you're both exhausted, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're stressed, you're worried, and you don't have a clue of how to get through that muck. So you've just got this trifecta of garbage, basically, not helping you out. Now, where do you want to start? I'm saying you, but I'm actually talking to them. Where are we starting? Yeah, okay, so thank you. All right, so the first thing that's keeping you away from this Knight of Wands energy, which, if I'm honest, the Knight of Wands is good. He's not great. He's not like the King of Wands. He's not like the Queen of Wands. He's not as resilient as the King or the Queen. He's not as reliable as the King or the Queen. So this energy in some ways might be kind of reactionary for you, where you just feel this impulse to go out and do something totally random, something totally unpredictable, off the cuff, fun, amazing, whatever. That has its benefits, but if you are concerned about stability or reliability or just having a certain smoothness, that energy would be a little tricky to get that consistency out of. You know what I mean? And the reason I'm drawing attention to that is because as much as he is an adventurer and he likes to go out and have a good time, again, he's just not as mature as a queen or a king would be. And because he's less mature, he's going to have a harder time. He, not saying you or he, you have to be a male Gemini, but he, the energy of the Knight of Wands, the energy that card is representing, is not as mature as a queen energy or a king energy, therefore is less likely to have a chance at combating these three things that are surrounding you. That's why I'm pointing that out. So the first thing that's around you that's kind of holding you away from this Knight of Wands energy is the Strength card in reverse. So there might be a Leo in your life, Sagittarius, not Sagittarius, but now that I've said that, maybe there's a Sagittarius too. There might be a Leo in your life, Gemini, who is significant to you in some kind of way. But regardless of that, it's really about the card itself. So when Strength is in reverse, it to me is like losing control. You know? The hands are off the reins, hands are off the wheel, and there's like this lack of tenacity. There's like, I don't care. I can't do it any. It's defeatist, feeling as if there's no way you could make things better anyway. There's no way the situation can improve. Just feeling totally helpless and hopeless, and feeling as if whatever your weaknesses are, they're greater than you. Whatever your vices are, whatever things keep you held back, for lack of a better word, your more negative, quote unquote, negative qualities will just continue to hold you back, and you can't conquer them. You can't get over them. It's not typical that I feel this with this card, but this is feeling like a depressed energy, like a downtrodden, no optimism at all, being very pessimistic, like I said, defeatist. And it's interesting because this is more than just a state of mind. I'm being drawn to talk about the yellow of the card. The yellow of the card, colors can often within the tarot and other decks really talk to your energy centers or your chakras. And if we're talking yellow, we're talking about your solar plexus. And solar plexus is about self-belief, self-determination, self-realization, and self-identity, and being able to firmly make confident statements about the self, to affirm who you are, what you want, things like this. And it is associated with your gut instinct. So there's something in this card, and it could be another person. It doesn't have to be you, Gemini. If it is another person, I feel you and this other person might share this energy. So this, again, might be a relationship or some dynamic in your household with your children, with your siblings, whoever, where there's just this, I can't even do it. It's too hard. You know, you're not saying it necessarily in these terms, but I don't even believe in myself. I don't believe in my dreams. I don't believe in my ability to be better than this. I'm going to be a failure. Like, the affirmation is you affirm a negative connotation about yourself. I'm always going to be a failure. I'm never going to find love. I'm never going to have the job of my dreams, the house of my dreams. I'm never going to leave my hometown. I'm always going to be stuck here. I'm never going to have this money. It's just this constant dialogue or internal monologue of I can't, I won't, it'll never happen. Just this defeated, sad sack kind of energy, you know, no offense, but like really sad. And like I said before, that's typically not a card of depression, but given everything else around it, it makes sense to me that that's what's going on. So either that's you, or that's another person, or that is you and another person. Take your pick. And so that, of course, would block this whole, I'm just going to get up and go, I'm going to have a good time energy. If you already think whatever you get involved in is going to fail, you would never try. So there's that energy of giving up before you've even tried with someone around you or you yourself. Because again, this Knight of Wands energy, you realize it's there, or you kind of have it on reserve, or it's kind of like your what do you call that? Like your parachute, like it's like a safety measure for you, like it's a last resort sort of thing. And you don't want to go there, but you also aren't really able to do much out here away from that energy either, is what I'm feeling. And I guess we'll see what the hell's going to happen. Because, you know, from what I'm seeing, I haven't touched the cards yet, so I don't know. They haven't brought me the full story yet, or haven't really cleared up a lot of what I'm feeling. But what I'm feeling is like, this is like a small portion of, like a glimmer of hope is there, but that glimmer of hope is also risky. That glimmer of hope is also a long shot. You know, getting involved with that energy isn't going to solve your problems, is basically what I'm being told. Okay? Now, the next thing that's blocking this energy, even though it might not help you, but I think that's sort of kind of where your mind is fixated. Like, if I do this, then maybe I'll feel better. I don't know if that's necessarily true. But the next thing that's in your way, or that has been going on recently in your life, is the Nine of Swords upright. Now, the Nine of Swords is typically a card of restless nights, being tormented in your dreams, not being able to sleep well, not eating well, just basically neglecting your mental and physical health, and really just being inundated and bogged down by worry and anxiety and guilt, feeling in some cases embarrassed or feeling worthless in other cases. So there's this person and they're in their bed and they're just tormented, right? In anguish, crying into their hands, sitting up in bed at night and just like weeping. So for some of you, that might be something that you've done. And I'm not trying to speak lightly, but I am trying to get the message out to you clearly. So I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, but this goes hand in hand with this depressed, not woe is me, but like like I said, pessimistic, I can't do anything feeling. This goes hand in hand with this. The Strength card reverse and the Nine of Swords together, they go hand in hand with each other. They are feeding each other. So in your waking hours, your strength is minimized. You feel overwhelmed, or you're not taking care of things like you're supposed to. Or you're taking care of them so much that you're burning yourself out in some cases. You are overextending yourself in some cases during the day. And at night, you're just in bed lying awake thinking of, I gotta wake up tomorrow and do all of that all over again, and all I want to do is sleep. All I want to do is rest. All I want to do is have a good meal because, you know, I've been eating crap food for 2 weeks, or I haven't eaten anything today. Like, you get home at night and you realize, oh my God, all I had today was like, you know, a candy bar or something, or I picked up a muffin at breakfast and then I skipped lunch and I worked late, so I had no dinner, and now I'm in bed and my stomach is caving in on itself, and I'm like, oh my God, all I had for breakfast was a muffin? You know, so you're just like having this constant cycle of either doing too much or not doing enough. In some, you know, it's general reading, so you're not all going to do the same thing. But some of you are really like burning the midnight oil. You're burning yourself out. And that is going to cause stress and anxiety in anybody, not just you, Gemini, in anybody. But because you're going so hardcore and you're not taking time to revitalize your energy, to restock your energy and get rest and eat proper meals, you're just making things worse for yourself. And if you're not doing anything at all, you're letting your responsibilities pile up, your bills pile up, you're letting your laundry pile up, you are eating crap food, you're eating like crap food 3 times a day, breakfast at McDonald's, lunch is Taco Bell, dinner is at Burger King or Jack in the Box or something like that, you're not helping yourself either. So no matter how you slice it, and again, if this doesn't resonate for you, leave now, because it's not going to get better. But if this is resonating for you, I don't care what you're doing. You're either doing too much or you're not doing enough. And that's sort of perhaps the issue here for you, Gemini, is that you've kind of put all your eggs in one basket. If you're going to do it, you're going to do the damn thing, and you're going to go hard. If you're going to get that promotion at work, you're going to work your butt off. You're going to show up extra early. You're going to stay late. If you want for your children to have a wonderful, amazing childhood or an amazing school year, maybe not so dramatic as a childhood, but you want their school year, maybe this is your kid's like first time going to elementary school or middle school or something, so you're just like, okay, I'm going to be there, I'm going to go to every meeting, I'm going to go to every sporting event for my kid, and it's just like, that's noble and everything, but if you're a single parent, that might be super difficult, especially if you work a full-time job. You see what I mean? And so you might not be relying on or allowing others, in this specific case of people with children, you might not be inviting in others to help you. You might be, you know, putting on a brave face and saying, I can do it all. I can do it all. I'm super mom. I'm super dad. I can do everything on my own. I don't need my ex to send money for the kids. I don't need Pampers from the ex. I can do it all. And it's like, maybe you should rethink that, because when you do too much, burns you out, you know? Burns you out. When you do too little, it doesn't burn you out in that way, but it depresses and it shrinks your ability to absolutely succeed. Like, that's kind of a cheesy way, or kind of like a like a self-help book kind of way of saying it, but it's just like, either way you slice it, things are not looking fantastic. Okay? Now the other element, or the energy, I should say, at play, that's kind of making you feel like your only way to solve the situation is the Nine of Wands. The other thing that's influencing that is the Moon card. Card of Pisces, so you might have a Pisces in your life of significance, Gemini, but it does not have to be. And the Moon card is a card about delusion. It's a card about dreams and they want me to say celebrity. So some of you might be, for those who might be a little underactive or inactive, or, you know, you're neglecting certain things in your life that absolutely need to get done. You might be living in a sort of fantasy in that you're downplaying how big your problems are or how big they can get if you continue to like let them sit by themselves and not be tended to. So that could be your bills. If you haven't paid for the water in about a month or two, guess what? You soon won't have water. That's just the way that goes. So you're kind of pushing things, you're kind of sweeping things under the rug. And the thing about the moon card and a little bit about Pisces, or vice versa, however you want to think about it, is that Pisces can often live in a world in their mind that is way more intriguing and interesting than their reality. And they often are disappointed by reality. No offense if you're a Pisces cross-watching this for some reason, but Pisces are the biggest dreamers, and there's a lot of benefit to that, but there's also a lot of downside to that as well. When you spend so much time in your mind in a fantasy or neglecting issues that need to be addressed or neglecting problems that need to be resolved, you eventually have to come back to reality, as we all do. This is the realm that we live in. It's called human reality on Earth, in the Milky Way, however you want to classify it. So eventually when you come back to reality, it's like, oh, it's like the rudest awakening. It's just so, it basically drives the Pisces to want to go back into their dreamland even more. So some of you might be taking on that energy and might be taking on that, that approach where you're downplaying everything that is a stressor to you, is an obligation or responsibility to you, and you're downplaying how important it is that you pay attention to it, how important it is that you try to rectify it and find solutions to it, and you're delaying things. In other cases, the opposite, well, not the opposite is true, but where you're overextending yourself, you're making it in your head, you're trying to convince yourself that I got more gas in the tank. Girl, guy, no, you're on empty. You're on empty. You're about to blow a head gasket. I think you should pull over and rest a while. Call AAA and get them to help you out, is basically what this is what I'm feeling here. You keep putting so much out. Your output is so much that you're bound to blow a gasket. Stop. Slow down at least. If you're not going to stop, slow down. Okay? Also with the moon card, there's this feeling I have, and it's right next to your Nine of Swords. So the moon card also can talk about dreams. Not like daydreams, but like dreams, like when you're actually asleep, because you've got this Nine of Swords and you have the card that talks about dreams. So a lot of you might need to pay attention to your dreams. You might need to start interpreting your dreams or writing them down. There might be some interest, if you're inclined to feel this way or think this way, there might be some sort of otherworldly message or a message from the other side that comes to you in your dream. You might have a particular person who has passed on, who was a great advisor to you, who might come to you and kind of drop some knowledge on you, and you might forget it if you wake up and you don't write it down. So there's this feeling of getting in touch with your dreams, getting in touch with your subconscious. If it's not specifically, because some people don't dream, or they have a hard time remembering their dreams, even if they wake up immediately and try to write it down. So if it's not literally go to sleep, have a dream, it would be getting in touch with your subconscious, because that is also what's attached to the moon card, is issues and concerns about the subconscious. In that case, either the active Gemini or the inactive Gemini. The Gemini who's burning both ends of the candle, or the Gemini who's got candles to spare. You need to get really aware. You don't have to do anything, but I think you should. There might be this need to dive deep into your subconscious and truly, okay, thank you, truly understand what's going on with you subconsciously. Now, what they're having me redirect this towards is therapy. Straight up therapy. Now, I'm no doctor of any sort, and I don't claim to, profess that therapy is the godsend to everyone. No. But what I'm feeling is that some of you have neglected your therapy. So some of you actively have been going to see a therapist of any type, physical therapy, a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever, a marriage counselor, whoever. Some of you have actively stopped going. You've just dropped the ball and said, I'm not going back, or you've just let your appointments kind of fall by the wayside. You might be encouraged to go back to your sessions with your therapist. Again, physical therapy, a psychologist, I don't care who the person is. If you've never done it, you might want to consider it. If it's been suggested to you and you've blown it off, you might want to consider it. And if you've never thought of it, but you've tried other things, exercise, good eating, like you've tried actively to improve your mood, or you've tried actively to relieve your stress in other ways, but it just didn't really work out, but you've never tried therapy, try therapy. Try therapy. And again, this is attached to your subconscious, right? Because the reason I had to mention that is like they gave me like this image of Sigmund Freud. And of course, Sigmund Freud is like what, the great grandpappy of modern psychology, even though a lot of his methodology has now been, you know, tossed away. But that's where that came from. And again, the moon card attaches itself or has this element of the subconscious and dreams. And Freud did dream interpretation, didn't he? So again, getting into your internal space would be helpful to you, but remember what I said when I first picked up this card is like, you have more aligned with the dreamer side of the moon card and the dreamer side of Pisces. Okay, in both the moon and Pisces, there's this element of having this clarity through the subconscious, like going deep within suddenly brings out this huge revelation. Going deep into this unconscious or subconscious space suddenly brings in all this insight. That happens a lot with Pisces. I don't know how many Pisces you know, but I know a few, and they will go away and they will go on some deep internal introspection, whatever they're doing, and then they come back and they say, oh, I just found out this whole big thing about myself. And they, you know, we sit down, we talk over breakfast or whatever we're doing, we talk over the phone, and they are just like telling me what they discovered about themselves simply because they did a little internal work. Now, some of them go deep and like go and like see a therapist or go into like meditation, or they actively, you know, are actively consciously working on it. Others of them, it's just like, oh, you know, I had a dream, I woke up, and this is what I found out about myself. Now, that's a nice little anecdote, but I hope you see what I'm saying. You can get with the side of the moon card or the elements of Pisces, because again, the moon card is associated with Pisces. You can get along with those elements that are attached to the deep dreaming, the illusions, and the delusions, or you can get into the more spiritual, esoteric, in some cases, insanely empathetic and psychic energies of the card and of that sign. You can choose. I think most of you have been choosing the former, right? And I think you might want to consider choosing the latter, okay? So, all that's blocking you, these three cards, this, you can go for the Knight of Wands, but I'm not sure that it would help you anyway. On the far side of all this, what's going on over here? Right. Who are these people? Okay, so some of you, go with the Emperor first. Some of you might be dealing with this person, the Emperor. This is a person or an energy of dominion, control, being the boss, and it's a my way or the highway kind of energy. An old goat. This is an old man on a throne, right? So he's been at it for a while. And it doesn't have to be a man. And you don't, again, you don't have to be a male. There's no gender here. It's a general reading. But whoever this person is, and I feel it's mostly external to you, Gemini. I don't feel that this is, if it is you, I'd be surprised. So this is a person or some type of energy that you feel from a group of people that's kind of adversarial, kind of like in your business, and they're not treating you with kid gloves. They're being really straight up front with you. They're being really honest to a fault with you, and they might be a bit of a prick, if I'm honest. The Emperor, card of Aries, by the way, so there might be an Aries of significance in your life, but again, it does not have to be. But the Emperor, he's not a nice guy. He's fair. He's usually pretty fair. He's usually pretty level-headed. He's not usually vengeful. You know, he's the Emperor already. He has nothing else to prove. He already has his kingdom. He already has his legacy in place. He is just usually in the business of maintaining his control and maintaining the position that he already has in his life. But what happens is, because he has to do that, he can't be super nice all the time, if at all. He can't, you know, be cheerful and bubbly. That is definitely not a characteristic that this person would have. So for some of you, also with the, also with this card, it's also sometimes attributed to a father figure or a grandfather figure. So that might be what's going on with some of you. You might, and it doesn't have to be gendered to only males. It can be females that embody this energy. So some of you might be dealing with parents or grandparents or older uncles or older cousins who just have this sort of attitude or have this sort of personality. I feel this person, because again, you're here, your starting place is here in the Knight of Wands, and so they're straight across from you, but in the middle there's this sort of wimpy, like I said, not confident energy. So this person might have a hand in making you feel that way. They might have a hand, whether they intend to or not. An intention, you know, I don't know how much stock you put in intention, but their intention might not be to make you feel less confident or feel as if nothing in your life will ever go your way. But the result is the same, I feel. So this person might be critical of you, Gemini. This person might be looking at what you're doing with your life and saying you're not doing enough or you're doing too much. They might be criticizing the way you spend your money or the way that you spend your time. They might be criticizing the way that you behave or the way that you wear your hair. Anything. The Emperor definitely is not afraid to throw his 2 cents into the ring, or to throw his 2 cents out there and to have people know what he thinks, because he's not going to apologize about it. He's not going to feel embarrassed, or he's not going to feel as if he has no leg to stand on or has no dog in the fight. He always feels his opinion matters. So this person might be overbearing in that way. And so Gemini, you're not an easily intimidated sign, and I'm not feeling this is necessarily intimidation. You are someone who has a strong sense of self-identity. So all of this is kind of out of character, if I'm honest. So it could be that this person specifically makes you feel like you don't know who you are, puts you in this place with the moon card of not knowing which way is up, stresses you out at night, keeps you up in your bed, worrying about what they're thinking of you, worrying about what they're going to say about you, worrying about what they're going to do to you next. How are they going to approach you when you go to the office tomorrow and you see them? This could be your boss. You know what I mean? So again, there's like an adversarial energy with this person. If I'm honest, going back to the argument of intention, I don't think this person intends for you to feel this way. I think that if they are speaking to you harshly, or they're saying things to you kind of flippantly or kind of without tact, they don't even realize that they're doing it. They, like I said, they just know that their opinion matters, and they know that they have something important to say, and they want to share it when they want to share it to whoever they want to share it to. They kind of don't read a room. They kind of don't have any kind of intuitive connection with other people. Like, someone could be, you know, sitting across from them with, you know, tears coming out of their eyes, and they're like, "You got allergies?" And they're like, "No, I don't have allergies." Well, what's wrong? You know, it wouldn't, this person's reaction to that would not be, "Oh, what's the matter? Can I help you?" Da 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 da. Eventually their thing would be, "Well, that's not anything worth crying about. You should change your attitude and stop crying and get over it." Like, they have very little sympathy, very little empathy, this person. And again, I don't feel that that's you. If it is you, it's a general reading. It can go any way. But I feel that this person is just a handful. And again, I am getting, for a good amount of you, this person is older than you. Or they're in a position of, there's like a hierarchy, and they would be higher than you. In a work situation, in a family situation, like I said, a father, grandfather, great uncle, whoever. And again, it doesn't have to be a man. It could be a great aunt. Okay? In very few situations, this could be a partner of yours, a business partner, a romantic partner, a roommate, or someone on your equal level that you know, a cohort of yours, a friend of yours. But that's for a very small amount of you. And this person, just like, you can't even begin to deal with them. So some of you might be feeling like you're at the end of your rope with this person. And the other thing that I said earlier about how the Knight isn't really equipped to deal with a king or a queen, the Knight is also not equipped to deal with the Emperor. Like, the Emperor is even greater than the kings or the queens, because he's a part of the major arcana in the tarot cards. So you're wanting to rely on and tap into the Knight of Wands. I don't even think is going to help you when you deal with this person. Oh, man. In some cases, just a few. This could also be your therapist or the person that you go to for counsel if it's not actually a therapist. Like I said, it could be a great uncle, an older cousin, a best friend who's, you know, a little bit older, whoever. This could be someone who gives you advice. And again, they don't sugarcoat anything. They lay it out there raw with you. They keep it real with you. They keep it 100 with you. And that is just like been really harsh for you to deal with lately. And so your reaction that you're considering is this whole get up and go. Like, don't even talk to this person anymore. Don't even involve them in your life anymore. And I'm not sure that is necessarily helpful. Okay? I don't know why I had to mention that, but I had to mention that. For some of you, this person you've invited them in, like, repeatedly. And you've wanted help from them, but they haven't been helpful. Okay? Now, what else is happening is you've got the High Priestess in reverse right beneath Mr. Emperor and right next to your Nine of Swords energy. So the High Priestess is definitely she's tied to the occult. She's tied to universal knowledge and intuition and having this panoramic view of existence, not just life on earth or anything like that, but existence, seeing it all. And obviously, if this is in reverse, there's a lack of that going on. So there's this lack of, very similar to the Moon card, there's this lack of full understanding and appreciation of the situation at hand. There is a lack of acknowledgement or willingness to acknowledge how deeply spiritual this situation might be. You know, it could be that. It could be that. Because it also, I'm feeling like, not only is this like a lack of acknowledgement or willingness to it, it's like this ignoring. Thank you. Some of you are ignoring these spiritual calls, these little knocks at your intuition, these little, for those of you sort of familiar with tarot and spiritual things that are kind of going on right now, you're kind of ignoring the synchronicities that are being presented to you. the things that seem like a coincidence, but they damn sure aren't coincidences, you're ignoring it. You're just pushing it aside. And it's interesting because this the High Priestess in reverse is in the opposite corner of the Knight of Wands. And for me, positions on the board often mean a lot. So these two are sort of at loggerheads. The energy of the Knight of Wands would be meeting at an angle with the High Priestess in reverse. Meaning, this impulsive desire to change, to get up and go, to have fun, to forget the worries of your life and just do whatever, is conflicting with, or meeting with, I should say, not even conflicting with, but meeting with this neglectful energy towards your intuition, towards your better, higher, fuller understanding of your circumstances. So there's, like I suppose it could be, there's a conflict of interest there almost. And of course, the High Priestess is directly below the Emperor. So so if this is the therapist, just to use that example, if this is the therapist, the Emperor is your therapist, and right beneath him is this High Priestess in reverse, your intuition would be telling you, even though this person might be a little rough around the edges, even though this person might say things to me that I, kind of take offense to, they're not wrong. A lot of their criticisms or a lot of their opinions or feedback about your life rings true. So this Emperor might be, like I said, they act in the betterment. I think I did say that in this video, because he's come up in the previous two videos, so he might be a theme throughout the month of November for many people. But anyway, the Emperor always acts in the best interest of his people, of his kingdom, even when the action is tough, even when the action seems harsh. It's for the betterment of everybody. So if you want to think of it like in Walking Dead terms, I haven't watched that show in years, by the way, but if you want to think of it like that, survival of the fittest, if we need to survive as a group, then we need to do XYZ, and XYZ is something really crazy, like sacrificing someone else for the better, you know what I mean? The Emperor would make that call. Seems crazy on paper, seems callous and dismissive and heartless, but if he didn't make that decision, the whole group would suffer. So the things that the Emperor is telling you, cut back on this, do this instead, or I'll help you do this, but you need to do, whatever he's bringing to you that seems harsh, that seems heartless or uncaring, seems as if he doesn't even realize all of the things that you're going through. Because again, he's not super empathetic. He's also not super intuitive, but he gets results. And if he's trying to help you, again, in the case of a therapist, and it doesn't have to be an actual therapist, it can just be a good friend or a close relative or something like that, your intuition, you're ignoring it. You're not in line with it. If you're ignoring this person, if you're avoiding this person, there's something in you that you shouldn't do that. You should give this person the time of day. You know that this person has a point or has made a good argument about something. You might have to eat crow. You might have to eat a little bit of humble pie and go back to this person and say, hey, what you said to me the other day, even though it kind of hurt my feelings, I got to admit you had a point. You might want to think about that. Now, if it's not necessarily to do with this person, it is to do with how you're reacting to them. Intuitively, something is amiss here. Similar to this moon card. You know that there is another way, but what way is it? You're unclear about it. So you need to kind of explore different avenues that you haven't gone down before. And again, this diagonal meeting of the Knight of Wands, he's outnumbered here on this board. What was that, 5-1? He's just overpowered. As much as you're here, as much as you want to be with this guy and be with this energy, it's like the odds are stacked against you if you rely on this so heavily. I really think you should not rely on it so heavily, okay? Now, your outcome for November. Gemini, you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, boy. So, if you're having or have had or will have an amazing November, I'm happy for you. For those where this is resonating, this is going to be tough, because this being your result, or your outcome, I should say, not your result, but your outcome. You've watched up until this point, and you might be watching or doing other things to kind of get insight into what's going on in your life. And with this outcome, I feel as though, you know, it's going in one ear and out the other. Because the Queen of Pentacles is the most nurturing queen. She takes care of the physical realm. She takes care of the physical body. She takes care of those physical needs. Your food, your money, your thirst, your sex, everything. Everything that has to do with maintaining your experience here in the 3D world, in this human experience. The Queen of Wands is the nurturer, or excuse me, the Queen of Pentacles is the nurturer of that. The only one better at it is the Empress, okay? So when she's in reverse like this, all of that stuff is like neglected. It's not properly cared for. It's not properly valued. It's not something that is a priority. It's not even something that she feels obligated or even inspired to do. This is like this person is either extremely dismissive. Yeah, like this person is either extremely dismissive of the importance of all of those things that need to be nurtured, or, again, downplays the significance of it. Like, knows it's important, but thinks that other things are more important. Pardon me. So, like I said to you earlier, some of you might be really overdoing it at work. So you're putting all your energy into your work, and you're neglecting your home life. You're neglecting your family. You're neglecting your partner, your spouse, your dog, your cat. I don't care who it is. You're neglecting to even clean up your own home. You work so much, but the pile of laundry is up to the ceiling. You're neglecting to take care of your physical body, so you're not shaving your beard. You're not shaving your legs. You're looking a little ragged, but you're gonna get that promotion. So it's like putting too much emphasis on one thing. That energy is still here. And there's also the energy of being frivolous and kind of throwing all of it out the window and not giving a damn about any of it. So, again, I feel like I'm telling you this, and other people might be telling you this, whether it's the Emperor or whether it's people that you know in your real life, or other tarot readers might be telling you this. And I feel like you're just kind of like, okay. Or not even, okay, like you're not even like, in some cases, you're not even acknowledging it. Like, I'm telling you stuff, and a small part of you is like, this all sounds really true, Gemini. We should be listening. But you're like on your phone doing something else, or you're, this video is playing in the background while you're, off doing something else. Or, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about this from an egotistical standpoint. Like, if you watch my videos, you need to pay attention. No, it's more of like the reality of facing all of this is too much. It's too much for you, or you're not interested, or it's too painful. It's too real is what I'm getting. It's just too real. And that's tough. I would say I'm not super experienced in that feeling of things being too real that I can't face them. So I'm not trying to criticize you by saying that. So I'm not really sure why this message has come up for you if you're not willing or able or ready to receive it. Maybe you'll come back and revisit it. Maybe you'll watch this video and then think on it for a few days and then, come to some other conclusion. But because this came as your outcome for the month, I'm skeptical that would even happen. Okay? Overall energy for the month. King of Cups. So another court card. And you got the Queen of Swords for behind. So a lot of court cards. So there might be a lot of people involved. And that could be also like sort of what's stressing you out, or what's going on is you've got different social circles or different relationships that you're trying to maintain or that you're ignoring. Again, it could go either way, Gemini. You've got a lot of people on your board here. And so you could, again, be giving too much to too many people, or you're neglecting too many of your relationships is kind of what I'm getting when I see like all these figures on the board. So as much as this is a story about you and this is a message for you, you have to understand that your relationships, whether you're giving too much to them or not enough to them, are very significant in November, okay? Now, King of Cups, overall energy. I think this this could be a lot of you, if not most of you. The King of Cups has a lot of feelings about a lot of things. And he knows his feelings. He's able to recognize them, or at least knows that they're there. Even if he can't properly say, I'm pissed off, or I'm elated, or I'm incredibly sad. If he can't make those statements, he at least knows something is going on. Because if you look at the card, he's sitting on a throne, but his throne is on this really violent and crashing, swirling ocean, right? So there's this stillness to you, or there's this calmness to your exterior, Gemini. But what's going on deep inside is there's a lot of shit churning around inside of you. A lot of different emotions are coming up and crashing on into each other. I don't want to call anybody out here, but some of you might be having like episodes, okay? You might be having bipolar episodes where you're feeling really happy, really exhilarated for like 2 days, and then the next 4 days you're down and your energy and your attitude is completely crashed. Again, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but it feels like that. It feels like one day it's this, one day it's that. And these feelings just keep coming in and interrupting each other and changing the tone of your day, or changing the tone of your behavior, or your communication and the way that you behave. And it's a lot of topsy-turvy energy, but the exterior isn't really showing that. So if you are having episodes, you're doing a good job of holding it back. And going back to those where I said you've been in therapy but you haven't gone, this is the result of that, where the episodes are becoming more frequent. You've gone off your meds, you've stopped seeing your therapist, and so all of the things that were kind of counteracting these episodes, now they're ramping up, okay? The thing about him being your overall energy is, I think, like I was saying, there's something, because he also has been repeating in previous readings. The thing I feel the King of Cups brings that I think people don't appreciate sometimes is acknowledgement. Total, unfiltered acknowledgement to the self. Maybe not to other people, maybe not to expressing it externally, but to the self. This guy knows his deal. So if you are having, emotional highs and lows, and you've been diagnosed a certain way, maybe you've never told that to anybody else. Maybe it's a recent diagnosis to you, but you know it, but you don't tell other people about it. That's your business. You don't have to tell anybody anything. But you see what I mean? So like I said, I think the thing that sometimes isn't appreciated about the King of Cups is like, he has a lot of knowledge. Whether or not he expresses it, that could be debated as a good or bad thing, but he at least knows. And when you know, at least you're able to go forward and begin to construct a plan. If you become sick and you have certain symptoms, but you don't know where to look, or you don't know how to go about figuring out what those symptoms mean in terms of what your illness is, that's a problem. But if you know your symptoms and then you know what your illness is, you can then go about finding proper treatment. I hope that makes sense. You know? Same way if you think, going back to like the whole blowing a gasket thing. If your car engine light is on and there's smoke coming out under your hood, but you don't know the first thing about cars, and you don't even know what a head gasket is, and you just look under the hood and all you see is your poor motor sputtering and smoke is coming out and it's hot in there. If you don't know that you may have potentially blown a gasket, how then could you go about fixing the car if you had no other option but to fix it yourself? Does that make sense? So I think for both your outcome and your overall energy, it's basically saying you have got to take a lot of inventory into yourself, reevaluate some of the things that you're doing, some of the things that you're not doing, and come to some greater understanding about who you are, what you are, where you are in your life, where you want to be, all that kind of stuff. It's not easy. And like I said, there's a lot of people here, or the potential of a lot of people here, so you might have to have conversations with people that you don't want to speak to, or that you haven't spoken to in a while. But in order to have a better bet than the Knight of Wands, you have got to reach out to others. You have got to do something proactively. He can be a good energy, but in the totality of this reading, I don't know. Okay? Alright, Gemini, that is your reading for November. If something resonated here, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to read about it. But if it's too personal, just shoot me an email. I'd love to read it there. I'd love to have feedback on what I'm producing for you guys. If it works for you, if it doesn't work for you. If you liked the video, there's a like button down below. Go ahead and click that. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and share the video if you think others could benefit. And I will be back in a few weeks' time when I do your December readings, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Bye.